All right, everyone, let's get into something that a lot of you have been asking about, including that guy. How do you analyze a stock? So if you're a little late to the dance and you're just getting on my page, go on my YouTube channel and watch all the videos on technical analysis. We've already covered technical analysis, which is like relative strength index, Bollinger Bands, moving averages, which is what I use primarily as a swing and day trader. But what about investing? How do we know that the bones of the company are strong, that the fundamentals are strong? I'm going to use this book, and together we will go through some of the key ways to value and analyze a stock. I really recommend this book. Everyone should have it in their house. It's a great resource, especially if you don't know where to start. Whenever a question like, hey, how do I value a stock again, pops into your head, you can just grab the old book. So let's go after the big one first, the P to E ratio, PE ratio, or more commonly referred to on the news as the multiple. You can find the P to E ratio on any stock website under the summary page. I'm using Ameritrade. The P to E ratio stands for price to earnings. It is the price to earnings ratio. But what does it mean? And who cares? The P to E ratio is the easiest way to determine whether the stock price is trading at fair value comparatively to earnings, or if it's trading at a multiple that lets you think, hey, this shit is way overvalued. So the lower the P to E ratio, the better, because it means that it's in line with where the stock currently is. This is Apple's P to E ratio, 37 times earnings. And this is Tesla's. Whoa. Looks like it's extremely overvalued, trading at almost 1,100 times earnings. But people are still willing to pay for it. So you can see with a stock like Tesla and at almost 1,100 price to earnings ratio that it's extremely overvalued. But let's see what the book says. If the P to E is high, you should expect to get high earnings growth for the extra money you paid for the stock. It's riskier to invest in a high PE stock than a low PE because it is more difficult for the high PE to meet the high earnings expectations of its shareholders and analysts. Mature companies with low P to E ratios often pay dividends, while new companies with high P to E ratios usually don't. Think of a mature company as like Johnson & Johnson. So that's the P to E ratio. Next, we're going to get into earnings per share, or EPS. All right, guys, we've got a long way to go. Someone better go put on some coffee. Let's talk about EPS, or earnings per share. Earnings per share is also such a popular metric for valuing a stock that just like the P to E ratio, you can also find it on the summary page of any stock you're looking at. In fact, we're still on Tesla. Earnings per share is right above the P to E ratio. Tesla's earnings per share are only 39 cents. And by the way, EPS can be negative if a company loses money. Let's look at Apple's EPS. Apple's earnings per share are a massive $3.29. Here's the thing with earnings per share. It can be manipulated to make it look like the company has more earnings than they really do by various accounting methods. So is there a better indicator than EPS? Alright, fine. So earnings per share is an important metric, but it maybe isn't the best because people can manipulate it a little bit. What about price to sales? I mean, you can manipulate earnings, fine, but you can't manipulate sales. Now in this book, he says it's profits I care about, not sales. However, with a growth company that is new and maybe doesn't have a lot of profits, the number of sales they have could be a positive indicator to see how they're growing as a new company. So where does Tesla fall in any of this? So we go to the valuation page right here on Ameritrade, and we go down to price to sales. But wait a minute, what does it say right here? Price to sales is not instructive because the company's already got positive earnings. Tesla has a price to sale ratio of 17, which means you are paying $17 for every $1 of Tesla sales. Ouch! Alright, last one and then it's bedtime. Next time you see me doing one of these videos, I'm not going to be wearing this shirt. Let's talk about the price to book ratio. This one's kind of important. What does it mean if the company just went belly up and liquidated everything tomorrow? This one requires a little bit of math to calculate the actual price to book value. And luckily for you, I aced math all through I failed math all the way through high school. So let's just take the author for his word when he says that a Price to book ratio less than 1 means you're paying less for the stock than its liquidation value. That's good. Here's the thing, Apple's price to book value is 27. But Ameritrade explains why this doesn't really matter. The price to book ratio is excluded since it likely underestimates the company's book value by overlooking hidden assets such as intellectual property. So in the case of Apple, price to book, who cares? Alright, I know, I said in the last video that was it. I was going to bed and you weren't going to see me wearing this shirt in any more videos. Well, just like Eddie Guerrero.
I forgot to tell you. Yeah.
But I get excited when I talk about this shit, so let's just do one more, and then really, it is bedtime. It's 1:35 in the morning. Let's talk about one called the price to earnings to growth ratio, or the PEG ratio. It's like the P/E ratio, except that it includes growth. Any company with a PEG value over 1 is considered overvalued, whereas any PEG ratio under 1 is seen as undervalued and therefore great value, a good bargain. Based on a 5-year expected growth rate, Tesla's PEG ratio is 0.96. Alright, so I've woken up, I'm drinking my matcha latte. If you've never had one, you should get one. They're delicious. We've covered everything. Price to book, price to sales, P/E ratio, PEG ratio, earnings per share. So when it comes to stock valuation, what else are we missing? Well, I like to do a pretty quick scan of the company's fundamentals. You can do that by clicking on Fundamentals. Here we are on Apple's Fundamentals page. I like to click on Annual and Income Statement and get a view of their revenue. I want to see that it's increasing year over year, or at least in a general uptrend. I also like to click on their balance sheet right here and take a quick look at their debt. And finally, under cash flow, you subtract their capital expenditures from their total cash operations. And that gives you their free cash flow. Why is free cash flow important? I personally like looking at their free cash flow because it lets me know how much money they have. A company with decreasing revenue, increasing debt, a high dividend, and a very low cash flow screams big time trouble to me. If I see a company with increasing revenues, manageable debt, a nice dividend, and lots of money in the bank, that's music to my ears. Reason being, I know A, they'll be able to pay their dividend without taking loans to do so, and B, or did I say 1? So is this 2 or is it B? Whatever. They have cash, so they can ride out economic downturns, recessions, sector volatility. A company without a lot of money in the bank is either going to take on massive loans to stay in business, or they're going to go bankrupt.